Anyway, good evening to all you ladies. Have a wonderful event.
Percy, good evening to you, gentlemen.
Right.
So lovely to meet you.
Yeah. So wish you all the best.
You too, Percy.
Mm.
Natalie Gandhi, welcome. Natasha, welcome. Everybody who's just coming online, welcome, welcome, welcome. Who do we have here? Marwan. Ah, that's my brother Marwan. Hi, Marwan. You woke up early.
Good morning.
Good morning, my dear brother. Oh, so lovely to have you. Hi. You can't see, your face is not showing, Marwan. Why don't you show your face?
There we are.
Hey, hi, Marwan. This is my brother Marwan, everybody. Marwan, Dr. Marwan, engineer. Very, very, very important person in my life.
Feroz.
All right, everybody, hello, and a very happy Naorooz Mubarak to you all. As you all know, we are here, but I want to welcome you all to the series of WZCC We Women Entrepreneurs. And my name is Feroz Darwala. I'm the global chair, and I welcome you wholeheartedly for a session with a very energetic and enthusiastic speaker. As you all know, everybody, We was launched to empower women to capitalize on their inherent capabilities, realize their true potential, and fulfill their dreams of starting or scaling up their businesses or advancing their professionalism. Today, we have a plethora of opportunity which exists for all energetic women, all women who want to step forward and want to achieve work-life balance or career balance. And it's important that they be ready for any kind of life changes, career changes, and be open to more lucrative and economic freedom. With that in mind, the ladies' wing of World Zarathushti Chamber of Commerce provides various seminars and various expertise and networking opportunities. And today we are very lucky to have a very, very energetic, enthusiastic speaker, Dr. Farah Shroff, who will regale us with how women can rock locally and can rock globally. So before I request Ketayun, our committee member, to introduce Farah, I just want to say welcome and thank you for attending this webinar. Ketayun, over to you, dear.
Thank you, Feroz. Hello to all of you, and good to see you all today on this webinar. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you our very energetic speaker, Dr. Farah Shroff. Farah is a Takemi Fellow in International Health at the Harvard School of Public Health and a Canadian public intellectual with expertise in global public health, research, and education. Farah is the principal of Shroff Consulting, a public health, education, and social issues consulting company that focuses on research, writing, facilitation, and more. Farah worked at the Department of Family Practice and the School of Population and Public Health in the University of British Columbia Faculty of Medicine. Her emphasis in her research was on visioning and developing health for all. Her main areas of research were holistic health and community development within a social justice framework. Farah has written about various aspects of women's health, HIV/AIDS, health policy, nursing issues, registered massage therapy, international health, and about innovations, transformations in healthcare, mental well-being, yoga, palliative care, and more. She also writes poetry and literary reviews, which I'm sure we are going to experience in her presentation today. And she has a particular interest in Ayurveda, yoga, meditation, and other forms of health promotion and disease prevention. She was featured on the television spot called Dr. Shroff Talks About Holistic Health in Canada. So she has a long-standing commitment to global health, status improvements, and has worked in lots of various countries, Nigeria, Guatemala, Mexico, Costa Rica, India, Thailand, and many other countries. So when I asked Farah to take this webinar on International Women's Day as we celebrate, I said, Farah, can you give us a catchy title? So she said, okay, we'll say, We Will Rock You, celebrating Zarathushti women. I put it to the We Core committee and they said, Ketayun, are you sure this is the right title? I said, I'm sure Farah will rock us. So ladies and gentlemen, she will discuss her work, women's health, and engage us in storytelling. And we will celebrate our traditions and many other rituals as we celebrate Naorooz tomorrow. That will give us a light into appreciating the mothers, sisters, daughters around us. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Farah Shroff. Go ahead, Farah.
Thank you so much, Ketayun. Thank you so much to all the organizers. It's such an honor for me to be here to celebrate two really momentous celebrations in our community. One is women. I feel like this is a real natural in our community. And the other, of course, is our favorite time of the year, springtime, when all these new growths are happening around us and where we have the option to dream and think about a better world and a better life for all of us. So I wish you all Naorooz Pirooz. I just want to quickly tell you how I came up with the title, since it seems to have raised some eyebrows. So the one of the things I'm going to talk about is how women rock babies. So there's the rocking of the little baby in the cradle, and those of us who are mothers or aunties or who've ever had a chance to hold a baby, rock the baby. And so that's one of them. And then women rock, meaning women rock, and we change the world and we do things that are powerful. So that's how the title came about. So let us get going with the slides. All right, my friends, welcome to all of you, whatever hour it is. I am thrilled to be here with all of you. And so, as you know, my title is We Will Rock You, celebrating Zarathushti women. And I am Farah Shroff. I am a fellow at the Harvard School of Public Health. I am actually right now in my home in Vancouver, Canada. And I want to acknowledge that this beautiful land where I live has been stewarded for thousands of years. In this particular nation is the Musqueam Nation and the other Coast Salish nations. And everywhere on planet Earth where we are now, there have been some Indigenous stewards of the land who have made it possible for us today to be where we are. So I thank them. We're going to be talking a little bit about Naorooz, about International Women's Day, and then we're going to do some storytelling. And I definitely want you to get ready to participate, because that's what we're going to be doing at the end. This is a little preview of all the things we're going to be talking about. So for those of you who like to have the roadmap, this is the map. All right. So yes, I love joining people on LinkedIn. So if you find me on LinkedIn, that will be a really fun way for us to keep in touch. As Ketayun said, I run a consulting company called Shroff Consulting, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about that. So Shroff Consulting, because this is the World Zarathushti Chamber of Commerce, I felt like I had to mention this, because most people don't know this about me, that I run a small consulting company. It's a sole proprietorship, which does public health research, writing, thinking, training, facilitation, visioning, mission, those kinds of things. I also founded an organization called Maternal and Infant Health Canada. We call it MyCan for short. We in MyCan do research, education, and innovation to improve the lives and health of women and the environment. And we work currently in Canada, India, and Kenya. The two studies we're doing right now are called the COVID Catalyst Study and the Ayur Study. The Ayur Yoga study is in India, of course. COVID Catalyst is in 4 parts of the world. It's a global study. We invite you on Tuesday to come to our next webinar. We have my new friend and research rock star, Dr. Alicia McGregor from Harvard, talking to us about different issues related to Black women in the United States and birthing, February 12th. So if you join with me on LinkedIn, you'll be able to get all these events. So of course we did an event on March 8th, which is International Women's Day. And we celebrate every year February 12th because the mayor of our city proclaimed February 12th as the International Day of Sexual and Reproductive Health Awareness. And that's a day that we always do something at MyCan. So our linked tree is here. We are on Instagram, on Facebook, we're on TikTok. We're on a lot of different social media, and we love to meet you on social media. So come and find us and join us on social media. So let's talk a little bit about Naorooz. As I mentioned earlier, my husband is an Irani, and so I love to say the words in the traditional ways in which we have always said these things. So Naorooz, Piruz, to all of you. I'm sure that many of you have seen the sabze that those beautiful women are holding in the slides. We know that we have apples, seed, and garlic, all the 7 things that start with S, and each of them have a symbol. I don't know if any of you have ever gone to Charshambe Suri, but I love this tradition. This is a beautiful, beautiful Zarathushti tradition, and I really love doing it. So I thought we would symbolically even do it together. Of course, this already happened. It's even though it's Charshambe, which is Wednesday in Farsi, it happens on the Tuesday night just before Naorooz. But here we are the day before Naorooz. So let's just take this opportunity to think about what are the things in our lives that we would really like the fire to burn away? What are those things in our lives which we would like to leave behind? That's what this time of year offers us, and our ancestors gave us the gift of once a year taking an inventory of where we're at in our lives. What are the things that we no longer need, and how can we as Zarathushtis use fire to symbolically and literally burn those things up? I'll tell you, I'm sure most of us are ready to burn away the pandemic. We're ready to burn away all the wars, not just the one in Ukraine, but the one that just ended in Ethiopia, the one that's been going on in Yemen, in South Sudan, so many parts of the world. I'm sure we're ready to burn a lot of those things. And what are the things that we ask the fire to give us? So there's a saying that I've had to ask my husband many times to teach me how to say. So it is Sorhi tu as man, Zardi eman as to. So it literally means we talk to fire. This is our tradition as Zarathushtis. We ask the fire, please let your redness be mine, and please take away all my faded yellow things. And so we have this tradition of really venerating fire and asking fire to take care of us every year. And I have really tried with my husband to raise our children in these traditions. So Zubin and Arman, our kids, I have seen their mom at their preschool, at their schools. I've gone to the kids' schools and taught them all kinds of things like Charshambe Suri and all the non-Zarathushti kids, because I don't think my kids ever went to school with one Zarathushti child. Got to learn how to jump over these symbolic fires. And for Shabi Yelda, I would take them Persian poetry and teach them what that was. I always wanted my children to really understand our traditions, because so many of us Parsis, in our adaptability, we're so good at adapting that we end up taking up, particularly in Canada, we end up having a Christmas tree and Christmas wreaths. And everybody does things in their own way. But the way that we chose to do it was just to celebrate Shabi Yelda and to really celebrate Naorooz. So I wish you all an opportunity to really take this time to reflect in a really meaningful way. What are those things which you would like the fire to burn away? And what are those things that you would like to feel gloriously full and bright with? And to use fire as the guide. So we've talked a little bit about the Hafseen, and of course we celebrate this Naorooz because it is the springtime. It is the vernal equinox where we have equal light and day. And for me, this is just my favorite way of celebrating Naorooz. Of course, many Parsis, we call it Jamshedji Naorooz, and so we say Jamshedji Naorooz Mubarak, and we clean our houses and we get new clothing, and the children get ED, they get little gifts. There's a beautiful Hafseen there in the photo. I love this Iranian art. Yes, so I really wish you all a wonderful Naorooz with all of the really profound significance that this offers us, this opportunity to be in the light and in the dark and to embrace both. Our community has been really good at embracing both light and darkness, and we're so good at celebrating every time the earth takes a significant spin. So Kitayun told you that I love poetry, and I live on a diet of Persian poetry. Particularly, I love the poetry of our ancestors, and everybody knows Maulana or Rumi, and so I couldn't do a presentation without citing just a little bit of Persian poetry. And I think it's so apropos to Naorooz. Rumi said to us, "If light is in your heart, you will find your way home." And I believe as Zarathushtis, finding our way home wherever we are is about knowing who we are, celebrating our ancestral traditions, and really honoring them. The other way that we can find our way home is to, of course, celebrate our mothers and the women who raised us. And I have a longitudinal study of women in our community. It's a study that I call for short the ZXX, the XX chromosome for women. And this is something you can find, the 2.0 version of this study. You can find online, and one of my slides has the URL for it. But I wanted to do this study. I started this study about 20 years ago when my mother was still alive, to honor women in my life.
We have stayed in your house and
Oh, I'm sorry, iPhone. Could you please mute? Thank you. It was lovely to hear your voice for a short while there, though. Okay, so yes, Zarathushti elder.
the speaker.
Oh yes, iPhone, please mute. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to just tell you a little bit about ZXX 1.0. So this was a study that I did interviewing Zarathushti women around the world. I interviewed some in South Africa, some in India, some in Canada, the US, and this is just a little teaser of that because I'm not really going to be talking about this today. But the values that came up in the interviews, one woman said to me, "We are taught to be honest and helpful to others. That is one thing. Our parents, they always teach us that." And I said, and then the participant said to me, "And to be honest and to speak the truth, whatever it is." And I can't think of a more germane quote for the times we live in, these post-truth times that we live in, my friends. I really hope that we are able to follow the words of our ancestors and to speak the truth, whatever it is today, because we live in a world where people are not being very truthful. So I love these ancestral teachings that so many of us embody. And that study just leads us really well into another theme of today, which of course is IWD, International Women's Day. One of the favorite days of the year for me is International Women's Day. This year, I had a lot of fun being at Harvard, celebrating it, talking about domestic workers and the importance of domestic workers. I've been in Laos celebrating International Women's Day. I've been in Latin America. In many countries, International Women's Day is a huge day, but it's not a very big day in most parts of North America. So I don't know about India. I don't think it's a very big day in India either, but it's a big day in my life. I love IWD. And one of the ways I've often celebrated International Women's Day is to talk about my research in women's health. So one of the things that is really important in my life as a professional, as a global public health researcher, is to uplift that half of the population, women. And I had so much fun at doing the keynote address at a university in India, being there. International Women's Day speaker. Yes, I can't wait to get back to India and do these kinds of things. So why do we research women? What is one of the reasons that people like myself devote our lives to doing this kind of research? And here's a picture of some pregnant women. And the reason that we do this is partially because it's a litmus test for the health and stability of the country overall. The health and empowerment of a country's women is a pretty good indicator of how that country is doing in many respects, economically, socially, and otherwise. So this is my book, The New Midwifery. It came out in 1997. My husband and I always joke that it came out, it was our first baby. and then Zubid, our actual baby, was born in 1998, the year after the book came out. And midwifery is a calling for so many women. It is the oldest women's profession. There's always a big joke and a kind of a funny competition about whether sex trade work or midwifery is the oldest women's profession. I will let you decide which one you think it is. And midwives are health professionals who help women. And when I say the word women, I encompass people who identify as transgendered, non-binary, people who identify somewhere along the gender spectrum, but I respectfully use that term for anybody who identifies as a woman. So my definition of woman is a lot bigger than somebody born biologically as a woman. So we know that, of course, anybody can get pregnant, and we talk about pregnant people. And so midwives help pregnant people becoming from women to mothers. And this is a very important transition. Midwifery, oh, I'm so sorry, iPhone, please mute yourself, my friend. I know that our fearless IT person already had to boot you out of the room, but it's really hard for everybody to concentrate when there's talking besides the speaker. So what do midwives do? They bring in a new generation in good health. I taught in Canada's first ever midwifery education program. It was the first time in hundreds of years, so I don't think we ever had it before then. And so we have one of the world's leading midwifery programs in Canada. And it's 4 years of professionals learning what is healthy, normal childbirth. And if we think about the profound implications of this, we have people who are helping the mother move from woman to mother and helping her feel very healthy mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, so that when she gives birth to that baby, we herald in a new generation of healthy children who are then going to lift up the rest of all of us. So midwifery bears a huge brunt of what it means to be healthy, not just for one generation, but for another generation. And in many, many cultures around the world, midwives have different names for their profession. In French, the word is sage-femme. Pour ceux qui parlent français ici, sage-femme, of course, you know, it means wise woman. In Spanish, it's partera or con madrona. Con madrona in Spanish means con madrona, so with mother. The words are really beautiful for the word midwife. And in my book, there's a list of about 30 languages and how linguistically midwifery is about really celebrating and honoring motherhood and bringing women into motherhood so that women themselves can thrive in motherhood, but also so that all of us, all of our societies are loved. I'm sure you know about that research, which shows that societies that did not have loving mothers raise very violent children sometimes. There's a really, really good book on Nazi mothering, which shows us that when we don't have loving mothers, we can raise really hurt and rejected and dejected children who grow up to be very violent people. So let us honor the midwives who help us through pregnancy and childbirth. I want to say just before we pause from this discussion that it's very troubling for me as a women's health researcher to come to India. Of course, I love going to India every year, and the organization that I founded, Maternal and Infant Health Canada, we work in India, and the C-section rates in some hospitals, especially private hospitals in India, have now become almost 100%. 100% C-section rates are way too high. This is a terrible trend. We have got to stop this trend. So I beseech those of you who are in India today, please tell your friends, having a normal vaginal birth is what your body was made to do. 85% of childbirth can be healthy and normal. If you have a good midwife and you have backup to be able to go to a hospital, you can have your baby at home. All the research, particularly in North America and Europe, shows that that's perfectly safe, but you certainly don't need a C-section unless you're in about that 15% category. So please, if you take that away from my talk, that I would love us to really reduce C-section rates to about 15% max, yeah, or lower. But now let's talk about another part of the women's health and pregnancy spectrum, breastfeeding. Of course, that's one of the things that midwives do, talk about breastfeeding and how breast is best. And those of us who work in women's health like to talk about breastfeeding exclusively for about 6 months and up to 1 year exclusive breastfeeding. What we really are trying to do in this field of breastfeeding is move past stigma and biases, because in most part of the world, breastfeeding rates are coming down. And that is specifically the theme for International Women's Day this year, break the bias. And I love the way this all came together, because I really wanted to talk about breaking the bias, as that was the theme. But there's a Parsi woman, a Zarathushti woman, who I really want to honor here. I invited her actually to come to the talk, and unfortunately she couldn't make it. Dr. Mahzareen Banji, she's a professor of psychology at Harvard, and it's really her work which has not been celebrated. People don't actually know her name when we talk about unconscious bias. So here we are talking about Zarathushti Women Rock, celebrating Zarathushti women, and I am doing a shout out to Dr. Banaji. She has done this extremely important work. Her book is called Blind Spot. It's a co-authored piece. But you can look her up. Please do look her up. She does really good work looking at unconscious bias. Most of us, when it comes to biases, aren't conscious of the things that are really big in our world. And that's because we're human and we soak up the environment in which we grew up. Conscious biases are easy. They're really easy. We can absolutely talk about the circle of awareness, the things that we know about. But the unknown knowns are really difficult to talk about. And that's where Dr. Banaji's work comes in. Then there's the known unknowns. You know, this world of talking about biases gets very complex. But let's just bring that circle back to breastfeeding. So what are some of the biases about breastfeeding? We know that we have reduced breastfeeding support in the world, and that's one of the reasons why we have lower breastfeeding rates around the world. So that means less governmental support, less public health support. We know, again, we have cuts in public health funding. We have a lack of knowledge of the health benefits of breast milk. Like, this is crazy to me. How could we possibly not know that breast milk is the most perfect food? I often do talks about Ayurveda and the nutritional aspects of Ayurveda. I'm writing a piece. UNESCO has just commissioned me to write a piece about Ayurveda. And nutrition is huge in Ayurvedic medicine, as it is in many systems of medicine. But in most nutrition charts, the one nutritious food that is stand alone, there is nothing like it, is breast milk. The milk that comes from our mothers to our babies is the most perfect food. There is absolutely nothing like breast milk. Research from virtually every area of social science and science has proven that breast milk is a perfect food, and it is a wonderful thing to feed our infants and our children. So there's also this social pressure for new mothers to get their babies into a feeding routine to sleep through the night. And of course, that's a big deal so that moms can get their sleep. But there's lots of ways to work around that. And this is really the big one, the negative attitudes towards breastfeeding in public or even at home. And that's where I think the unconscious biases really come in. We're not really at a place in global society where we're talking about breaking the biases about breastfeeding openly. And that's because one of our biases about breastfeeding is actually an unconscious bias or a stigmatized bias. And that is that the breast in many societies has become more important for sexuality, and sometimes husbands want that part of the woman's body more for themselves than for their babies. So that's an area of unconscious bias, and how we can really illustrate this International Women's Day theme in this topic of breastfeeding. We really need to have those open conversations about why is it that breastfeeding rates are low, and to just recognize that our anatomy as women is actually used for many things. we can use our anatomy for more than one thing. And so I just want to say that I breastfed our sons, and I'm just going to see if I can show you a picture here of them. That's Zubin and that's Arman. That's my husband Ruzbe, my dream man, who I dreamt about before I met him. So I breastfed both of them till they were each about 4 years old, which is the world average. And so both of them got breast milk. And then when we went traveling, when the kids were really young, when they were 3 and 6, they didn't get sick. And it's, breast milk is a wonderful immune booster. So yeah, I just want to show a picture. This was me when I was pregnant. I had a dream to go to India with Ruzbe. Yeah. So yeah, so here we are celebrating International Women's Day. And as you know from your own families, women hold up half the sky. Your mothers and your grandmothers and your aunties and your sisters, I'm sure, helped to give you a good life. We know that women deliver. This is one of the UN's goals to take care of women, to promote gender equality and empower women, because women produce the majority of food, transport the majority of goods, and provide the majority of labor in the developing world. We know really that without women's freedom, rights, and health, that entire communities fall apart. So let's now talk about women, the women in our lives. And I promised you a chance to participate. So I'm going to do a little bit of storytelling now about my mom. And there's a picture of her. She is no longer with us, Rani Maruk. Her last name was Munshi when she was born, and then of course she changed it to Shroff. So this actually comes from the ZXX 1.0. I actually interviewed my mom because, of course, she was a huge inspiration for this project. My mom was full of life. Somebody called me enthusiastic and energetic. Well, if you had met my mom, she was called Rani, queen, because she was a true queen, and she had a ton of attitude. So you're going to get a little taste of my mom's attitude here. So here's me interviewing her saying, Mom, you lived in Punjab, Mommy? And she said, Punjab. We lived in Kanpur, UP. It's called UP, Uttar Pradesh. And here's me. Of course, I don't know the map very well. So I'm saying, that's Punjab. And she's saying, yes, that's close to Punjab. It's next door to Punjab. And I say, oh. And then she says, so are you talking or am I talking? Now let me talk. Then I don't know what happened until I was about 7 or 8 years old. We moved to Bombay. Now, if you could just imagine, I can't do my mom's accent very well, but she had this sort of classic Parsi Anglo-Indian accent. So she never learned, to talk Canadian English like I did. She always talked with that slight Anglo-Indian accent. So if you can just imagine, as I'm using my mom's dialogue words, that you can hear that Anglo-Indian accent. So she said nothing. I remember nothing clearly anyways, just vaguely I remember. So of course, here's my breastfeeding theme. So I said, so tell me, did you breastfeed from your mom? Mom said, yes, for a whole year. And this is the way my mom talked, so you'll have to forgive her. My mom had very big boobs. She stayed in the hospital for 1 month and she fed about 2 other babies because she had too much milk. She didn't charge for it. She just gave them. And I said, how wonderful. And she said, yeah, it was wonderful. It helped her more than it helped the babies. Got rid of the heaviness. That's right. So I'm just gonna have to move this. Then what happened? So then she said, then we kept to Bombay. My father was transferred. My father kept getting transferred because he'd lose his temper and resign from his jobs. But he was always offered the next day. He was always offered a job somewhere else. So he took it and he wasn't afraid to move from one city to another. So this is a story I've written about my mom. I can send you the link to this if you're interested in reading it. And so I wrote, so began her adventures in this world with a strong-willed father who loved his wife and children with all his heart. In fact, it was my mom's father who made sure that the family included a girl. They kept trying until she arrived, and she felt deeply cherished because of this. So, it's really interesting being Parsi and being South Asian because our women are really celebrated. And in my mom's case, my granny, my mamaiji, really wanted only 2 kids. And the reason that they ended up having 5 was because my mamavaji, Narimanji, insisted on having a girl. And so after 2, my grandma said, that's enough, bus. And he said, no, we have to get the girl. So then they got my Mernosh Mama number 3, and then came Kersi Mama number 4. And my grandma said, bus, I'm ready. And Mama Vaji said, no, we have to keep going till we get a girl. And thankfully for my grandmother, my mom was number 5. So of course she was called Rani, the queen, and she really was a queen in many, many ways. I wrote another piece about her that just got published in a journal, a Canadian journal about motherhood, and it's called Embracing the F Word Together, My Mom and Me Swearing by Feminism. And because I really want us to participate more, I want you to do some breakout rooms. I'm not going to read too much of this, but it's a it's a short piece actually, and it talks about my mom and my granny as well. My mamaiji, my papaji, of course, was part of it too. I'll just read this little part about it. So it says, my mom taught me about sex and reproduction when I was 4 years old. By the time I was 8, I decided that I would change my middle name to my mother's first name. Up until then, my name was Farah Hoshang Shroff, following our Parsi tradition of taking my dad's first name as my middle name. My parents lovingly accepted my decision as I declared, since both of you made me, it makes sense to have both of your names in my name. And that I carry to today. Maruk is my middle name. And then because my grandmother always wanted me to shine out, and my mamaji, kumimai, I took my grandmother's name is my second middle name. So my full name is Farah Marak Kumi Shroff, and our children have this really democratic last name of Shroff Mehrabadi. So yes, we've taken that. If you ever do read this piece, you'll see that this is really about 3 F words, F-U-C-K, which my mother absolutely loved. She loved to say F-U-C-K. And you'll see that I write about it in the piece that I came home from first year university. And, and like we often do, I don't know if this happens in universities around the world, but one of the things that I learned how to do in first year university was swear. And so my mom, of course, she had a master's degree. My mother was highly educated, but she hadn't learned to swear. Not at Xavier's College where she went in India, and certainly not at UBC where she did her master's degree. But I had learned how to swear, and she was like, "Oh, F this and F that." And up until her last day of life, I got to see my mother January 1st, 2017, the last day of her life. She was saying F this and F that. And she loved swearing. She absolutely loved swearing. So yeah, so this piece, Embracing the F Word, is about my mother and I swearing, loving feminism, and having a lot of fun. So those are the F words. I'm not going to read too much more about it, but you can see that it's all here. Yeah, talking about shaving our legs and stuff like that. It's just a silly, fun, really, really light story here about this F word being liberating for both of us, as we learned that we did not need to be ladylike in order to be fully fledged women. And so, yes, so I encourage you, if you are interested, here's the other story that I told you. It's Canada 127, 150. It's a story about my mom, Rani Marak Shroff. And so I'll just end my storytelling about my beautiful mummy by saying her incredible courage, love, and sense of fun have inspired me and others to take risks, laugh at ourselves, and live freely. So thanks to my mom. And here's a little poem that I did write about her. Okay, just because Katayan said that I would do this. So giggling, whispering, speaking wordlessly. Mom and me had lots of fun. She was 19 when I was born, so we grew up together, fully embracing feminism, speaking out for change. Long live strong Parsi women. Okay, so there we go. Now, my friends, we are going to do some breakouts. It is over to you. I have done all the talking right now, and it's going to be over to you to do some breakout. We're going to do this just for 10 minutes. So we've got this wonderful IT hero, Yazdi Tantra, who's going to help us here. What we're going to do, you're going to take 3 minutes in your breakout room. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment here so that we can be in gallery view. And you can see all the beautiful people on this call with us. And what we're going to do is you're going to take three minutes with your person in your pair, and you're going to tell a story about the women in your lives. And because most of us are Parsis, you're going to tell the story of obviously about the Parsi or the Zarathushti woman in your life. So let's, so Yazdi, if you can do that, I think we've got like say 39 participants here, so you can just divide everybody into groups, you know, so that would be like say 18 groups or something like that, because probably I won't go, and I don't know if Katayun and you will go, but if you can just make the groups like that, and then my friends accept your group, join, and then just take 3 minutes and tell this story about a woman in your life to your new friend. Okay, everybody got it? Yeah, good. Hi Farokh Mistry. Hi, my friend. Great to see you. Okay, so join your breakout room, okay? So join your room. I've got one. Yazdi's gotten me into a room. So I'm going to go now. Be back in less than 10 minutes, okay? Hello, everybody. Did you have as much fun as I did? I got to talk to Behrouz Clubwala and hear the best stories. Her mom was amazing. I wish I had gotten a chance to meet her. So I'm gonna give you a little moment now for any one of you to share. Auntie! Oh, Uttara, Asha, your mommy's with you. Please. Hi, Auntie. Oh, hi, sweetie. I'm talking to you. Oh, I miss you so much. Please give your mom a big hug. Can she hear me? Are you in Mumbai with your mom? Hi, Auntie. Oh, this is one of my favorite people. Oh, how old is your mom now, Asha? She's 100? 104. She's one of the grand dames of the Parsi community from Hyderabad. Oh, love you so much. Oh my God, so glad you're here. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, my friends, I'm just getting to see all these beautiful faces here, and I just want to allow you to unmute if you would like to and talk about what you learned from your new friend in the breakout rooms. Anything that you want to talk about from sharing a story. There's my friend Farah. Please go ahead, Farah.
So I spoke to Uttara and Asha Kurlawala there in Bombay. Uttara got a PhD from Oxford in English, went back to India, married Asha's father. And what is very interesting about Asha is that she wanted to be a dancer. And she did do dancing. And she did dancing of Indian and Western Western contemporary dancing in the United States. And they're both very, very happy. Asha's father was in the military, and he served in Burma during the war. And my mother served with General Shroff on the Burma front as well. She was a medic there. So that's what I would like to share with everybody. So it's absolutely delightful to have met them and to have spent a little time learning about them.
Thank you, Farah. That was exactly what this exercise was about. Yeah. Anybody else want to share a story? I thank you so much. And you got to meet Asha and her gorgeous mother. Her mother, of course, is a big star in the ZXX project. You can look up this grand dame's life. First woman to go to Cambridge. Beautiful, beautiful family. Yeah. Anybody else want to share a story?
You should, Lucy.
I think somebody is just about to unmute and go. Okay, if nobody wants to share, that's fine. We will come to my slides again, and we're just coming close to the end. So you've done your breakout rooms, and how could I call this presentation "We Will Rock You" without having an image of one of our most incredible rockers, Freddie Don Basara. I definitely raised my children singing this song, and so I thought we would have the lyrics here for you. And hi, Dolly. Is it okay if you mute? My dear Dolly Duster, could you mute? We're hearing the coughing. Thank you. So these are the words that inspired the title, "We Will Rock You." Sing it, we will rock you. And I really feel like so many of us, the women and the men, we couldn't have strong Parsi women without having incredible men in our community. So this is just as much a shout out to the men, our beautiful, beautiful fathers and brothers and uncles and grandfathers who support us. We have an incredible community that has allowed both women and men to flourish, and it always happens. Women can never be strong without men. So thank you to all the beautiful men in our community. And this is my granny, my Kumi, there she is. She was about 98 there. This is at a wedding in Mumbai. And yeah, she lived till 101. And so as I told you, my full name is Farah Maruk Kumi Shroff, and she is the Kumi of the Kumi. So we have spent about an hour today talking about how Zarathushti women rock the world, celebrating Naorooz, a little bit of an early celebration of Naorooz, talking about Charshambe Suri and this beautiful vernal equinox, which we are just having right now, and about International Women's Day, a little bit about breastfeeding and research and women's health. We celebrated a Zarathushti woman, Dr. Banerjee. We each in turn celebrated women in our own lives and showed how women rock and women rock. And with that, I would like to say Merbani, Kheli Mamnoon, merci. Again, like I said, please keep in touch. That's my email at Harvard. But LinkedIn is a way better way of keeping in touch with me, because that's I'm pretty active on social media. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides now, and we have some time for interaction. So if anybody would like to say anything, please go ahead. I know there's been somebody there. I think Yasmin is saying something. Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you. And the number, somebody, Dubash said, what is the number? Oh, it was the Canada 150. So it was the kind of colonial history of Canada, 150 years. So that's what that number says. And Natalie Gandhi said, if anyone used a bad word at the dining table, my grandmother would put her fork down and leave the table. Well, I see our families are very different, because that did not happen in my family. We use swear words all the time. Both my parents would happily use them. And my father would use the terrible ones in Gujarati. I think Gujarati swear words are so awful, but you know, those are the words we have. And he, you know, my father loves his words. He's the head of the Shakespeare Society today at age 80, whatever, still heading the Shakespeare Society. So yes, the family I come from, so sorry to tell you, we are a very bad example. Okay, now somebody, Percy Muster, please explain what makes women so efficient at multitasking, running a home, looking after the family in all ways, and also having a career. That's incredible. Yes, my friend Percy. Hi, Percy. I see you there. Yeah. So it's actually not really good for us. The new brain research shows that multitasking is terrible for the brain, awful for brain health. We should never impose this on anybody. Like I can tell you myself, when Zubin was born, this is the kind of thing that I would do. I would be at home, always, because I breastfed my babies for 4 years. So I'd have Zubin by my side, and so he was always sitting there while I was working on the computer, you know, something to play with. And then I would, you know, pick him up and breastfeed him whenever he needed milk. And so I would have to get my work done. I'd have the baby and, you know, here feeding him one hand. I'd be doing an email on the other. I'd have somebody else on speakerphone, and I would think I could do everything all at the same time. Well, what we know now is actually we short shrift each one of those tasks. It's not good for women to do that. We do it out of necessity. And sometimes we sort of boast about how good we are at it. But it's nothing to boast about. That's nothing to be cavalier about. Doing one thing at a time. And, you know, it's a sacred task to be a mother. So yeah, just being there for our babies. If you're privileged enough to be able to do that, I really, really think that's the way to go. And then Aban, hi Aban. Thanks for highlighting Mahzareen Banerjee. Yes, thank you. Yes, I have registered, Aban. I will definitely be there, and I would love to talk about my study, as you know. Okay, so yes, so Adel has also said that. Thank you, Adel. And so I guess those are all the questions here. Oh, what is Ayur Yoga, Yasmin? Okay, so that study is a study about Ayurveda and yoga. So I didn't say this as part of my bio at all, but I'm a yoga teacher. I've taught yoga in about 50 countries in the world. I've published research articles about yoga. Yoga is a huge part of my life. I learned it from my parents. My parents, when I was really young, took up yoga. And so since I was 3, I've been doing yoga. And like,
True.
sorry?
Sorry.
There's my friend Puran.
He said, why don't you say you're a yoga teacher?
Yes, because there's my dear friend Puran. Hello, sweetheart. She's also a yoga teacher, and she's an amazing yoga teacher. Yes. And so, yes, we have lots of Parsi yoga teachers in the community. Me and Puran are 2 of them. There's lots. Of course, if you go to Mumbai, there's the very, very famous yoga teachers who come from the Iyengar tradition. Actually, I interviewed one of them for my study. So the Ayur Yoga study is just this way that I typically will blend different parts of my life. So my research is very similar to the other things in my life. And so I did my PhD thesis on Ayurvedic medicine. And as I said, I'm currently writing a piece for UNESCO on Ayurvedic medicine. And so this study, the Ayur Yoga study, is looking at how extant systems of health promotion and disease prevention in India can make a positive difference to reducing the death rates of women and children. There's a tragic reality today that 1 million babies die before their first birthdays in India. It's horrifying that still happens. Most of these deaths are preventable. And so many solutions have been proposed, and funnily enough, not this one very seriously. So it's very complex. The study has not revealed that this is a straight route to saving lives. And of course, it's more about health promotion and disease prevention than it is about treatment. So please be in touch with me. You'll see I'll be publishing that study at some point soon, and I'll be doing more work in that area for sure. Yeah. Okay. And I see Puran's grandchild is in there. Hi, sweetie. It's really nice to see you popping your face in. And then Delna, great discussion. My daughter Delna and myself, Niloufar, enjoyed your talk. Well, that's wonderful, Delna and Niloufar. So happy that you came with 2 generations of your family. As you can see, Puran's there with her 3rd generation, because that's her grandchild. Babies, pets are always welcome at my talks. Loved ones are always welcome. Yes, I don't like being too formal is not my style, as you might have learned from my mother. Anything else that anybody would like to say?
I like the thought of what the fire can give us and what we can ask from the burn into the fire.
Yeah, and did you think about anything that you wanted to put into the fire, Puran? And what did you wanted to ask the fire for?
The strength to do the good.
Yeah. Yeah, I love our old traditions. Charshambe Suri is such a beautiful tradition. And so many of us Parsis have lost these old traditions. That's why I'm so happy to be married to an Irani, because I feel like these ancient traditions that our ancestors had have really come alive for me. Yeah, we really have, there's so much wisdom in our ancient taproots. Oh, Dariush is there. Hi, Dariush. Great to see you, Dariush. Hi, my friend. Great to see you. Are you there with your children?
I'm there. I'm here with Asha.
Hi. You can put your screen on and show everybody your.
Hi.
Great to see you. Hi, Dariush. Hi, sweetie. What's your name?
Asha.
Hi, Asha. You're so cute. See, we've got lots of 2 generations here. So lovely. Yeah. Anybody else want to say anything? Let me see. I've got another comment here. Naorooz Mubarak to you, Dolly, my dear Dolly. You are such a pillar in our community, Dolly. You're amazing. Thank you for all the work you do. We have so many amazing community members here today, like Yazdi, I think I was saying earlier, Yazdi Tantra. What would we do without Yazdi Tantra? Our community relies on you so much, Yazdi. So many of you just do so much for the community. Thank you to all of you. I love being a Parsi, and it's because of so many people who do this incredible volunteer work to keep us going, that, you know, people can rise up and say, here we are in a beautiful community. Hey, Rupina, I have a cousin named Rupina. Are you my cousin or are you another Rupina? Okay.
I don't think I'm your cousin.
Okay. Well, great to meet you.
I'm from Karachi, so.
Oh, that's where my cousin's from. My father's from Karachi. Yeah, my father was born in Karachi, and my mom was born, as you saw, she talked about it, right? She was born in Kanpur. Yeah.
What is your father's name?
Hoshang Bakaji Shroff.
I don't know. I left Karachi a while ago, but yes, I am from Karachi. Yes.
Oh, yes. So that's why I always identify as being South Asian, because there's the India and the Pakistan side of our family, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's so nice. Well, I probably should not keep all of you while I'm happily socializing here. So I think I will say thank you. Lots of love for a wonderful Naorooz.
Thank you, Farah. Thank you. Thank you. Before we let you go, I'd like one of our committee members to have a vote of thanks for you, please. Erin, may I request you to go ahead? Unmute yourself, Erin. Can't hear you. I think, Erin, you're on mute still.
Oh, there's one of my PhD students. She's here. Hi, Catherine. She's in Kenya. And there's Faribors. Hi, Faribors. He was the president of the Zarathushti Association of British Columbia. Nice to see you, Faribors.
Thank you, Farah.
Nice.
Hi, Dr. Farah.
Hi, Catherine. Great to see you, my dear. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we're waiting for Erin.
Yes, but Yasti, can you unmute her, please? We can't hear her.
Was something wrong with her mic?
Yes.
Hi, 3T. I wonder which 3T you are. I know so many 3Ts. Okay, we'll wait for the thanks. Why doesn't somebody else do the thanks then?
1 second, she can move to her husband's.
No, just 1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Move to her husband's.
Then I can keep saying hello to everybody who's
Yes,
here.
you can keep saying.
Yes.
She's moving to her husband.
That we've got 2 Dollies. I really love that name, Dolly. Those of you, and of course I called my children Dolly all the time. Such a nice Parsi way of loving each other, isn't it? That word Dolly.
Okay.
Yeah.
May I speak now?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, hi.
Well, good morning and good evening to all the participants of this webinar across the world. On behalf of we and WZCC, I would like to congratulate and celebrate all the women across the world on International Women's Day. And what better way to celebrate International Women's Day with our speaker, Farah, who has enlightened us on so many things, especially the Charshambe Suri, which I'd never known about. So, I mean, it has given us what a woman can do if she is given an opportunity. Our history speaks of the wonderful work and sacrifices our women always make, and they will continue to do, I hope. Everything that needed to be said has been covered by Dr. Farah Shroff. Thank you, Farah, for taking the time out from your busy schedule and being with us today. Then, and you have taken us through all the stages of our lives, right from being born to being a mother, to being a daughter, to everything. Then I also want to thank Ketayun for bringing you to us. And this webinar wouldn't have been complete without our IT guru, Yazdi Tantra. Thank you, Yazdi, for your continued support. I thank the WE chairman, chairperson, Behroz Daruwala, for being a guiding light and always goading us to do better every time. Thanks to all members of the WE committee for their inputs and suggestions too. And last but not the least, a big thank you to all the participants who attended this webinar from across the globe. Your presence encourages us to work harder for the upliftment and betterment of our women. Thank you. And I wish you all a very happy Naorooz and all the best for better times to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to a very sad and sorry end to this energetic event. But I think we need to move on. And good night to you all. Good day to you. Have a good day for the rest of the day if you have. And we'll let you now go back to your business as usual. Thank you all once again for joining. And Naorooz Mubarak again.
Thank you, Farah.
Thank you.
Everybody,
Thank
Naorooz
you.
Mubarak to you all.
Lots of love.
Naorooz Mubarak.
Thank you.
Naorooz
Bye-bye.
Mubarak to you
Bye-bye,
all.
everybody.
Jamshidi Naorooz Mubarak to you all.
Jamshidi Mubarak.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Farah. Thank you once again.
Yeah.
You are so
Bye.
welcome, Beros. Wonderful. to
Nice and enlightening talk. Really liked it.
Oh,
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy. And Uttara, please kiss your mommy. Can she come on? Are you there still? Oh.
Bye, Dr. Farah.
Thank you, Catherine. So happy to have you come. Oh, there you are. Are you? Yeah, I'm happy you made it, Catherine. Yeah. and
Thank
yes,
you all. Bye-bye.